Good evening and welcome to Hardfire. I'm your host, Joseph Dobrian, and I'm here with you for another half hour of current events and political discussion from a libertarian perspective. My three guests tonight are Brian Jones, consulting actuary, Nick Leopold of the Manhattan Libertarian Party, and Bob Cotton of the Hudson Valley Libertarian Party. And we are going to discuss tonight the implications of a free market economy, presumably as opposed to the not quite free market economy that we have today. Bob Cotton, I'm going to start with you. For those of our audience who are not quite sure, maybe you can give them a quick rundown of just what is meant by a free market economy, by free banking, free brokerage.
Well, a free market economy depends on voluntary exchange between individuals. Something of value is given by party A to party B, and something else of value is given by party B to party A if both parties feel that they're better off with this exchange.
And do we have a free economy in the United States right now?
Well, it turns out to be a relative term, and relative to most other countries in the world, yes, it's more free than most, but it's not as free as it used to be. It's certainly not as free as it could be, and I think we suffer from some of the same problems that unfree economies have suffered from through history.
Such as what?
Well, as more functions are taken over by government, for example, our own federal government, money, pensions through Social Security, schools, medical care. Most recently, these things that are taken over by government are socialized in some way, and they become a source of endless problems. The problems require endless and increasing regulation that never goes away, and yet there is a drumbeat for ever more regulation, ever more socialization of new areas of the economy.
Okay, and Nick Leopold, you are concerned with a specific part of the concept of the free market economy, that is to say, free currency. Can you tell us a little bit about your idea of what sort of a currency system we ought to have in this country?
Well, as a libertarian, obviously I want a totally free market across the board. But in terms of money, in terms of currency, the national monies, I am also a Liberty Dollar associate, and LibertyDollar.org is an organization which produces a private alternative free market currency, such as these Liberty Dollar silver pieces. And basically this is a private currency like we used to have many of in past centuries, and it's backed by gold and silver, and it also adjusts for inflation, so it protects people because instead of having paper money, which is no longer backed by gold and silver like the United States fits for our country, because the Federal Reserve System that we have now is really controlled by a cartel of international bankers. And they always wanted a Federal Reserve System because it allows them to manipulate and profit from, inflation. And really, so they make billions and trillions of dollars, and meanwhile the American people are robbed of their work and their savings. And a fiat money encourages waste and encourages spending money, and a strong silver, gold, or commodity-backed currency encourages saving and investment and people to own what they produce.
Okay. Brian Jones, what do you have to say about that? Do you agree with what Nick has just said?
Well, I have no problem with Nick. I'm not going to stop him putting these things into circulation. I'm certainly not going to put him in jail for doing that. But I think we ought to recognize what those things are. They are warehouse receipts, or the the pieces of paper that are represented by silver or by gold are simply warehouse receipts. I'm all in favor of having them circulate in the economy as commodities. Gold is traded as a commodity, silver is traded as a commodity, and that's just fine. But I think we need money to provide a store of value. And fiat money, I think, is the only way to do that. Gold-backed currencies, silver-backed currencies have all failed in the past, and I think they will fail in the future.
Is that so, Brian? Bob, that have gold and silver-backed currencies failed in our history?
To some extent, I agree with Brian. I think there was some failure in the 19th century, and the failure was of this kind, that gold in particular started to become scarce towards the end of the 19th century, and its price rose, which meant that the price of everything else fell, since other prices were based on the price of gold.